Today's part of our Business Spotlight program, I'm with Peter Flanagan. He's the co-owner and general manager of Flanagan Kerins Furniture, and they're based in Bray in County Wicklow. So over to you, Peter. What is it you do, and for how long have you been doing it?
We're in the furniture business. We're furniture retailers, and we come from several generations of furniture people. My father was in the furniture business and antique business, and my co-owner and business partner, Damien Kerins, his father was an entrepreneur as well and was retailed and wholesaled all his life. So we're no strangers to looking after people, and we enjoy the adventure of it.
And have you been in it your whole life, or is it your whole working
Pretty
life?
much. So I went straight from school into the business. In my brother Brian set up quite a unique restoration facility in Buncrana, County Donegal, and invited me to join him around 1980. And I came to Dublin to develop the Dublin shop, which had already been established for a few years. And my brother and my mother had been up and down to the old Stella Cinema in Mount Marion,
Oh,
and
well.
we bought and sold ex-army furniture and second-hand furniture and antiques and custom-made furniture. So it was a great baptism by fire into all things interiors and furniture related. We employed a couple of interior designers, fitted out hotels and fitted out apartment blocks all over Côte d'Azur in Spain, Portugal, around Dublin. But it was mainly B2C in that we were furnishing people's homes, looking for that unique piano, or looking for the correct mattress, or looking for that sofa. And we could custom make the at least the sofas and the tables in Buncrana. And then we partnered with lots of good suppliers around the world. So sadly, that came to an end in the recession in 2011.
Hmm.
And in 2012, then out of the ashes, Damien and I just formed a simple retail business. We'd been through the wars, I suppose, of an ebbing tide of a recession over 3 or 4 years, and all of the angst and education that goes with that. And just decided the simpler the better. There was blood in the street at that stage. There was no money to be had, and we coupled together what credit we could and started from scratch again out in Bray, but with a lot of goodwill from family and friends, and we're at it now, I suppose, in Bray 14 years. So it's going well. We're growing every single year, and we're up to a team of about 16 now. So it's we have a great team, and we're very proud of them, Damien and I.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well done. And you mentioned the growth there. What do you attribute your growth to?
Well, I suppose it's one customer at a time. We all want to serve our customers ideally. Um, you know, Treating them like they're the only customer in the world. As we grow, it becomes more difficult to spread ourselves across a wider spectrum. Like we have over 20,000 customers now, and I suppose it's about the next level is training our people to treat the customers like we would treat them ourselves, and it's empowering the front lines to make those decisions. There is no process that is detailed enough. I suppose I tend to think of McDonald's when I think of processes. So
Right.
that the manual for operating the business must be quite thick indeed. But it's about giving decision making power to everyone in the business and keeping a flat structure. You know, I got involved early with a group called Timony Leadership as a co-founder with a wonderful group of people. And we bring professors in from Harvard and ESE and around the world, and the best professors we can find on the planet, and train up leaders in that. So I was very fortunate to be involved with that from the outset.
Mhm.
And small enough as our business is, we were able to empower our people to make decisions for themselves. They don't always get it right, but it doesn't discourage them from keeping up the process. So it's about serving customers and getting them to bring others back with them, and it's
Fantastic.
working so far. We're only as
Fantastic.
good as last week.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And well, you've done it once or twice, but if you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
Well, it's about getting the right people around you. the team are really essential. And managing our own times. Before we can lead others, we have to lead ourselves.
Right.
It's about getting balance in our lives. It's about deciding what's important. It's about deciding on making a plan. And a bit like what Shakespeare says about the Laertes, Polonius's advice to Laertes, those friends thou hast and their affections tried, bind them to thy heart with hoops of steel. Or that's a very rough quote, but when we have good people around us, everything just falls into place, And when we're hiring people, we're hiring for enthusiasm. We can always teach processes, we can teach skills, we can teach, how to do things in this scenario. But enthusiasm is just contagious, and it's wonderful. It doesn't become work anymore if people are enthusiastic and they're eager to help each other, and they're not trying to silo themselves, and they're not trying to keep specialized knowledge that they have and not share it, but rather they have a joy in teaching someone else. So I'd like to I'd say that Damon and I are really proud when we see our small team teaching other members of the small team how to do something better. I mean, it's like, it's very similar to fatherhood, and I imagine coaching, and you guys are action coaches, so this is your bread and butter. But I imagine it's similar to coaching a rugby team or a football team. But as a father, we have 4 children and soon to be 5 grandchildren now in 2 weeks' time, please God.
Fantastic.
It's about seeing them flourish, and we enjoy it vicariously. We see them coming on, and we desire their better future. So if a member of staff comes on and says, look, I think there's an opportunity for me to do an MBA and get into the green space or something, as happened, we had a wonderful front of house lady. We encouraged her wholeheartedly and said, look, you want to do it part-time, that's fine. You want to do it full-time, you have our blessing, go for it. You've got the brains for it, you've got the ability. It's what's best for them, it's not what's best for us. And that attitude just works.
Fantastic. So it's really, getting the right people around you really is the key thing there, and
yes,
fostering. We'll touch on that in a minute. And we've touched on it a bit there, but what have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business?
There's been many acid tests. I suppose the bit of hardship when the family business was failing and contracting. It's a different skill set that's required when you're shrinking and trying to cut costs and take pay cuts and give pay cuts and shrink down, and the different behavior of people in difficult situations. So there's learnings there for sure. In growing a business, it's more fun because you can see the rewards. There's immediate dopamine hit with every feedback as your turnover increases, as you get a new customer, as you get a satisfied customer. It's self-affirming. So I suppose the learning, as I said earlier, is more to do with attracting the right people and encouraging the right people, and not trying to control it ourselves. It's not, in an ideal scenario, if I was hit by what was the 46A here in Dublin is no longer, but they've renamed them, but that things would continue. And Damien feels the same way. Like we empower our people to run the business, and hopefully we become less necessary to it. That's hard to do, but it's a learning curve, and it's a learning process, and enabling people to do it themselves with as little. It's hard to let go, as leaders and as business people and as entrepreneurs. There's an innate tendency to want to control everything and to jump to our comfort zones, whether it's getting into the back of a truck and unloading a load of furniture, or assembling something, or doing what we enjoy, which is therapeutic, rather than wading into a potential conflict situation or something else and trying to enable or help the manager to handle it better the next time by asking the right questions and asking open questions, and ask maybe what rather than why,
Exactly.
Getting them to come up with the answers, So it's all the fun of that. It's a different curve as we get older, when we're in our 20s and 30s, we we think we can spin 25 plates and everything else. As we get older, we say, well, look, what have we got to offer at this stage, and how can we best do it? Maximum ROI, maximum return on investment of time.
Hmm.
It's getting that life balance correct.
Well, that leads on. I mean, as I say, our definition of a business is a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. And it's all about what you're talking about there, being able to trust and delegate to people and empower them to run the systems to look after the customers. But it leads into the next question, really. How do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Well, I question myself, I suppose, as to whether I'm necessary to do a given task, or whether someone else could do it just as well and learn from the process. Um, Damien and I are probably job sharing at the moment. We're probably working 40 hours in the job between us.
Hmm.
Uh, I mind the grandchildren on a Friday. I do a little bit of work at home in the mornings like this, and creative and strategic stuff. After a walk on the dog on the beach or whatever, climbing a mountain, it's headspace and getting clarity of thought. Mornings are my creative time for whatever. And minding the kids, getting time to myself, minding the grandkids, I should say, and being able to, let's see, be at the front of the mine and down the mine for 20 hours a week, to me at 63 years of age is, well, it's a gift. It really is. I'm very grateful for it, being in a situation to do that with the wonderful team that we have.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, I'm a bit like plastic. I'm being recycled. I got a live-in grandson who's 16, and
Oh,
so again, as like you say, it gets me in contact with the next two generations down. He's interested in anything with a ball, so golf, hurley, football, rugby, and so going to the matches and ferrying them back and forth. So you do get in contact, and it's great. It's great to.
we can live there in their world, and it's great for our psychological well-being, and we're hardwired to love, in short, whether it's a grandchild or a member of the team. It's the same thing. It's when we're giving, we're happiest. I had two of the grandsons up a ladder there that there was no health and safety involved, I can assure you. And one of them decided, well, the ladder wasn't high enough, so he was going up on the branches. We
Oh,
must have went 20 feet off the ground, picking apples. But boy, were they happy. They were throwing apples down into a bag and a box, and we got 3 or 4 bags of apples. And those are things they'll never forget. They're memories that are being built. Took photographs of them up the tree, and sent them to the wider family, and it all goes well, I suppose, till somebody goes head first onto the grass. But that's a learning experience too.
yeah. Well,
It's,
then
it's
yeah,
wonderful.
you learn by doing. Yeah. I think you've touched on it already, Peter. But what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster a productive and work environment, positive and productive work environment?
Suppose first and foremost, you're looking for the virtues. If you see, you can tell very little from a CV in one sense, except for how they've worked, how long they've worked, their staying power in a particular job. Did they do team sports would be always an advantage. Did they do something charitable in their community, or reach out to somebody, people the less privileged. Um, but when you meet them and you see a bit of enthusiasm, and you see good eye contact, and you see perhaps in a handshake, how they respond to humor, how they respond to others. Are they going to be in a small team? Are they going to be people that you would enjoy working with and showing up with every day? And challenge them for difficult situations in previous workplaces. What was the worst? What was the best of it? What was give us an example of conflict and how you dealt with it. And but ultimately, until we're working and with somebody for a couple of weeks, it's the first few weeks are key. Induction and getting to know people and getting the feedback from the team. I mean, the team interview them as much as we do at this stage. They decide, and we give a veto to the people that they're working next to. So if the team don't like them, we don't hire them. So it's
Fantastic.
there has to be 3 or 4 buy-ins on a typical hire.
Fantastic.
because, you know, we all see things through our own lens. Like if you're an engineer, you know, what's the old adage about the hammer and the nail? Every problem, you know, if you're a hammer, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So we look at things from a perspective. An engineer will look at it from a more process driven, or an accountant will be looking at the numbers. A marketeer will be looking at it from a sales perspective and marketing perspective. So when we can bring 3 or 4 different perspectives, it never ceases to amaze me what other people see that I utterly missed.
Fantastic, fantastic. So it's really kind of a group approach, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, and all the different or diverse opinions and get them all together to get a
Oh, it's great. I mean, there's no one right answer. That's what we come to the conclusion. Case study method that we use in Timony leadership is very much around the case study. And you'd be surprised to see CEOs and deputy CEOs and people have been grooming for C-suite positions, and they go away with the same case study, and there's 4 different answers in the room. Is the professor is really just acting as a facilitator to tease the knowledge that's in the room and get diverse groups arguing their approach to a solution. And then you might find that what actually happened with the case study, all the names changed perhaps, and scenarios changed just enough to hide it. But as to what actually happened from it could be different again.
interesting.
But it's a learning process. All of it is learning, and it enables us to think differently, to approach different scenarios. But let's face it, every scenario in business is different. You couldn't possibly learn them all off.
No.
You know, you turn around and somebody's stealing from you, or you turn around and you discover that you know, such and such a person has a really harrowing family situation at the background, and that's why they're behaving the way they're behaving. What do you do? You know, how do you approach that? You know, what you have a duty to the business, you have a duty to the person, you have a duty to colleagues in the workplace as well, and all the stakeholders. Like, we're not the only stakeholders in a business as owners. The community is a stakeholder, the team's a stakeholder, you know, the suppliers are a stakeholder. It's like a micro system, you know, like in the Amazon or something. If you take away one part of it, no,
yeah, that doesn't work.
It doesn't go very well, you know.
No. In fairness, that I like that. And maybe just to round up, Peter, what are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
People probably, you know, the grass always looks greener on the other side of the hill, and it looks different if you're, you know, if you're in one walk of life and you see business owners with that degree or apparent degree of freedom that I've just expressed, you know, but things don't always go smoothly. There will be difficulties. There will be grey situations that's not apparent, you know, with everything has a degree of risk attached to it. And if we only take the decisions that are perfect and 100%, like a chess game, you know, that you've thought 5 moves ahead and what could go wrong. I mean, there isn't time for that in business. One makes decisions as opportunities arise, as threats arrive, and sometimes they'll be right and sometimes they'll be wrong. But we need to be comfortable with risk, with things going wrong, things going right, and stay detached from it in order to make the right decision with the help of the team at any given time. And always being positive for the team. Whatever we bring to the island of work on that given day, that forms the climate of the day. You know, look for opportunities to put a spotlight on someone's good behavior. Look for opportunities to say thank you. Look for opportunities to love.
Fantastic. No,
encourage the virtues in everyone we meet, you know.
Fantastic. Yeah, you know, I like the old saying where, you know, we find what we're looking for. You know, if we're looking for love, we'll find it. Equally, if we're looking for the opposite, we'll find that too, you know.
Yes.
You know, but listen, Peter, it's been great chatting to you today. I really appreciate you taking the time. And there's some great insights there for our viewers. And, you know, we'll, as I said, be great to get this out and about. So thanks again, Peter.
Thank you for the opportunity for Damien Kerins and myself and our little team. And if ever you're over our way, please pop in for coffee or lunch. We'd love to continue the conversation.
Fantastic. I appreciate that, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you.